Okay, well, I'm going to do a little supplemental video to the general packing and camera video that we did for what we're doing, and I did want to give an idea of medical bag. Now, here's something really important to take away, and that is simply that myself and two of the other people on the trip are either advanced EMTs or paramedics. There's two paramedics and one advanced EMT. So some of the stuff we have here, you may look at this and be like, oh my gosh, why do they have it? Well, we subscribe to a very simple mindset, and that is better to have and not need. But more than that, if our truck rolls over or we get into a bad situation, we're not going with a guide. So bear in mind, we're doing this to be self-sustaining. Now, that said, let's dig in here. Now, just to start on the small stuff, this is going to stay in a pocket. This is a pulse oximeter, and so I have the ability to do pulse and oxygen saturation, which will come in very handy for, obviously, our climb. We'll turn that off. This is very small, and these you can get on Amazon, and it's called a pulse oximeter. Now, I also have a BGL, just in case we want to check blood sugar, the ability to see if we've got altermentation and rule out low blood sugar. This is basically our cite bag, and basically the idea of chuck this to somebody that we need to stop bleeding. It is jam-packed, and this bag is not going to be opened again after I show you this, because it's not intended for us to get in and out of this bag. This bag will happen if we need to get into it. And you can see, once I got it back, I shoved even more bandages and blood stopper clotting material in here as well, just with regards to gauze and whatnot. So let's dig in here real quick and just show you guys some things that are out there that you can get access to. And basically what we have are two Cat 5 tourniquets in this bag. Just for your awareness, it's close to 80% of all casualties on the battlefield are due to what's called extremity bleed out. And that is, I'm bleeding from somewhere on my arm or my leg, and if I could just stop the bleeding, I'd be fine. But 80% of battlefield casualties, roughly, it's like 75-ish%. Those were the stats 4 or 5 years ago, but it is related to extremity bleed out that should be manageable. So you're going to see that we take that very seriously. We believe in tourniquets and stopping the bleeding, because once I stop the bleeding, I have the ability to slow down shock. I have the ability to help preserve the functionality of the heart, and basically your hemodynamics are something that are manageable at that point, your blood volume, etc. So stopping the bleeding and getting to help. Now beyond that, this is all gauze in here, every single thing in here, 4-inch pads, combi pads. This is all for stopping bleeding. Now beyond that, we have two other things here, and that's going to be a Z-fold hemostatic gauze, kind of an Israeli bandage type thing, here. And then this is Celox gauze. This is basically a clotting bandage that does a phenomenal job of causing clots. So, needless to say, I am going to button this back up here. This is also jam-packed, and this is one of the larger backpacking first aid kits where nothing really is in the same place that the stuff that they give you in the, as it comes from the kit. Look, I'm bringing some books because of the fact that 2 of us are medics, 2 of us are not. Yes, one of them is an advanced EMT, but somebody being able to look really quickly and understand field medicine, wilderness field medicine, or just an EMS field guide for some basics, hey, give them that extra confidence of knowing they've got something to refer to. I have this, you have to ignore, if you can read this, what these say, but I've got this in some nice clear clear window. This is all for burn treatment. Everything in here with regards to this pouch is 100% related to second skins, specialized bandages for petroleum gauze, specialized bandages for burn control. Now, burn control is something where you're worried quite often about then maintaining body temperature or core temperature. So I'm actually going to add a space blanket or an emergency blanket to this. And I know that if I'm trying to maintain somebody's thermodynamics, their body temperature, I'm going to this bag, because there's a good chance that once I go ahead and get somebody taken care of and treated properly for bandaging that burn wound, very specialized type care, I want to be thinking about their thermodynamics. And I'll have that there as a reminder, and we'll work on that. Now, in this pouch here, I've pretty much got everything for taking care of people for light duty bandaging. So I've got moleskin, I've got band-aids, I've got tincture of benzoin, I've got polysporin, I've got a little bit more of that kind of mom's bag here, but really for backcountry blisters. But this is basically where I have anything and everything that's going to allow me to cut. I've got my tweezers, I've got my safety pins, I've actually got a thermometer tucked in here because that's just where it fits. I've also got my suture kit and wound strips. I also have in here my wound closure strips. I also have all of my scalpels for if I have to go for airway or crike, and I also have my chest decompression needles. This is getting into some pretty advanced stuff here, but where I'm trying to avoid a tension pneumothorax or things like that that can be dealt with in the field by skilled folks such as ourselves. So we have all that in here. We're definitely in a situation where if we see the signs and symptoms of a need for that, we know how to use that. And so that's here. And for those of you who recognize this cable saw, yep. We do want to be able to get out. I think 127 hours for that. For those of you who don't understand and think we're going too crazy, that's okay. You don't have to do all this. This is the kind of stuff where we are prepared and we know how to get ourselves home. And, you know, a little bit of good luck with some training, hopefully come together at the right time, and a bad situation can be turned okay. So that's basically every implement I need, my trauma shears, etc. here. Now, everything I have here from the standpoint of iodine, alcohol, new skin, I mean, I've got everything I need to be dealing with prepping for needle entry or wound entry or cutting. And then back in here, because in Africa, you're going to be dealing with the fact that their needles are not in these nice little Americana sterile packages. They boil everything and reuse it. Some medical work that I was going to be doing in Liberia, if you know what an EZ-IO is, those drills that you go into the bone or the sternum with, femur with, to gain intraosseous fluid access, or basically to get an IV, but you're drilling into the bone, simple way to say that. Those are going to be used over and over and over again, up to 15 to 20 times in Africa, and they're just going to be sterilized, boiled, and reused. So if you're going there and you want to try to have your own stuff, but you're worried about HIV or possibly not being sterilized properly or anything like that, bring your own stuff. Now, that being said, I've got some more alcohol preps in here. I've got some various trauma dressing, transparent trauma dressing, just kind of a little catch-all here. And actually what is in here that I wanted to show off too, it's kind of cool. These tegaderms, typically when you do IV access, when you think about an IV, these are what's laid over, and it's kind of a clear window. If you apply these right and everything's sterile around maybe a wound that you've dressed or a small cut, this is actually very cool because once you put this on, these will stay on, provided you've gotten all the fuzz out of the way, like my hairy arm. And you've got a little window to be able to check your wound. If you've got a bad cut, but you've got it sewed back together and you want to try to keep going, this is going to tell you pretty quick whether or not you're starting to have some infection or things that need to be dealt with. So anyways, lots of tegaderm in our world. Now you notice those were just plungers. Those were not needles. So I do have those in a different location. But tape, gloves. Up here I get into oral rehydration. So basically, we're not bringing IV saline, we're not bringing IV bags, but these concentrated oral IVs or these rehydration salts are very good standbys. They're not going to help me get a whole lot of fluid in, but they are going to give me some benefit. I've got a couple of saline flushes just because I have them, and several syringes here for if I have to push larger meds. I've got oral glucose, oral analgesics, and antiemetics, as well as a anti-poisoning type in here. And then I've got my needles back in here, so 18 gauges, etc. And that is this bag. Okay. You're going to be in a foreign country and you do not want to have a headache, you do not want cold and flu, you want your Pepto, and then you want to have your hydrocodone or your any of your heavy-duty pain meds or any of those prescription medications. We have this rescue for anti-diarrhea. I've got some anti-malarials. I've got a bunch of different prophylactic type medications in here as well. I'm not going to consult you on what to bring to an Africa trip, but this should set the tone for you of having something like this, and consult with a travel clinic when you go to get your inoculations and your vaccinations before you go, your boosters for your Hep A, your Hep B, your yellow fever, etc. I'm just planting the seed with you. Now these will also be making it. These are SAM splints. The idea being that if I have a broken joint, if you're not familiar with a SAM splint, the ability to mold this how I need it and lay my arm into it and then wrap that up. So I've got more than enough of those in here. A little roll of duct tape, never hurt. That's going over here. Now the rest of this is a little lidocaine. The rest of this is just basically rolls of Kerlix and gauze and the stuff that you've wondered, well, where's all your Kerlix, where's all your gauze, where's all your wrap, what's in here? So you can tell this bag right now could kind of go like this. And if we've got the weight room for it, I like the idea that we've got all of this stuff as a backup. But the way that I tried to pack light and pack small, so I could basically pack them fast and light, we have those two small bags. And the airway is just not going to go in there, nor do I want to really bend the heck out of the bougie. We are trained, obviously, to gain airway as paramedics. And so we've got endotracheal tubes, nasopharyngeal airways, for being just a quick little adjunct. But I've got some ET tubes here as well. And I've got basically my stylus or my insert for that as well, my ruche. Now beyond that, the CPR mask, I'm on the fence about it from the standpoint of CPR amongst ourselves. Okay, it's nice to have the mask if we're doing mouth to mouth, but if we're having to give it to a local, well then this makes a little more sense in my opinion. As temporary handcuffs, well, we have them in case there's a head injury and somebody's combative and we have to restrain them. That's the design of what these are for too. Anyway, the medical packing is going to be something that you have to determine your comfort level on. And if you're going with a guide service, you may not have to worry about this quite so much. We're not. We're on our own, and we're thinking that way. So anyway, hope that's helpful to you.